We have Mr. Ravishankar R, co-founder of Hashbush, to guide us today. He is a B.Tech holder in Mechanical Engineering from MA College, Kodamangalam. He completed his MBA in Executive Postgraduate Program from IIM-K Kochi campus and has around 4 years of corporate experience in the IT industry at USD Global, where he decided to venture into entrepreneurial path and co-founded Hashbush, India's first crowd-designed fashion store, an innovation model which has become a referred emerald case study on entrepreneurship and strategic management discussed in university classrooms across the world. We are here to know more about the trail from Mr. Ravishankar himself. With immense pleasure, I cordially welcome you to this session, sir.
Thank you, Navin, for welcoming me. It is indeed a pleasure in joining you all in this program, and hope to have a fruitful session.
Now I invite Naina Yar of first year MBA to moderate the interview.
Hi, sir. How are you?
Hi, Naina. Doing good. Hope you are fine too.
Yes, I am fine. First of all, thank you so much, sir, for joining this session today. I'm very grateful that you are here. It's a big honor, and I'm just touched that you would give your time in such a short notice and join us today. And sir, I'm going to tell you that I love all your clothes designs in your store. So I wanted to know, not only me, all of us wanted to know about your journey. So we have a handful of questions for you, sir. So I believe that all the journeys don't start with a moment. They all start with a lot of things that has happened in the background. And in one moment, we all take a decisions which changes our entire life. So, sir, when did you first know you wanted to be an entrepreneur? And what was the inspiration behind this to go for a crowd design fashion store like Hashbush?
That is a good question indeed. So, to start off, I would say I didn't know that I wanted to be an entrepreneur until I had became one. So, the story is like this. So, like a typical Kerala middle class family, after BTech, I joined an IT job. And after a couple of years in the IT field, I all knew that I needed to do something different. So that took me, what do you call it, quest took me to iCampus, and I actually joined the MBA program. Once I reached there, it was really an eye-opener. The abilities that is there in front of us, the opportunities and challenges that we have, and how you can actually make your presence felt is huge. So I thought the spark of entrepreneurship started. And during the program, we were given case studies wherein you can take the role of a market person, then you will be in the shoes of a salesman, and it will give you different perspectives. Apart from the discussions with the professors, which gave us a good insight, our classmates or the batchmates that we had there were also experienced and from different fields. So all of them actually brought in different perspectives. And I was fortunate enough to actually visit some of the owners who were with us. So I went to them, talked with them, and we had actually seen actually being an entrepreneur. That actually gave me the confidence to go towards the entrepreneurship journey. And to come to the second part of your question, so basically you asked how we came to the crowd design fashion. In those days, what we thought was that, see, the FB there, Insta is there, Wikipedia is there. All these things are actually run by the crowd. The content is created by the crowd. The creativity is there from the crowd. So crowd is something that is really powerful. How can we tap that? How can we channelize that creativity? And how can we bring life to that creativity? So from the digital world, if we can transform that creativity into the real world, we thought fashion would be an apt segment that we can choose, start with this journey. that's how we started with the crowd designed fashion concept, and that's how Hashbush was born.
Okay, sir, that's amazing, sir. And now we have one of the most fashionable store today. So, how did you come up with the name of your brand, Hashbush?
See, the journey of naming a company is actually a long and sometimes short process. You heard the name for a long time, you don't get anything. In fact, we started this project. Initially, what we named it was Audacity, because uh, our step to quit job and start an entrepreneurial journey is something very bold, and that's why we termed it as Audacity. We wanted to have a .com domain name, so we played with the letters and words, and I was actually bit into gaming as well. So when you look at your key, you will see AWD, ASD keys very nearby. So those were the letters that we choose to get that .com domain name, and then that we had in the initial stage, and then once you have that such a name, it is very tough to pronounce. You didn't even try to pronounce it. I know that. And then what happens is I'll an experience. We called up one of our customers. It was a store. So we asked the accounts team, "Hello, I'm calling from Audacity Designs. I need to connect to Audacity. The accounts team." And the response that came was, "Eh, what? I don't know." And then I had to go on and explain. See, Audacity, AW. Okay, I know. So once they realize that that is the name, they won't forget it. But to learn the name a long time. So we had to scrap name and come to something new. And it has to be something the customers are familiar, who can share the name. It should be catchy. And that's how this brand name Hashbush was formed. So Hashbush is actually stands for something called hash stands for trending, and bush is actually a slang that expresses awesomeness. So this is how we together clubbed those two words and created Hashbush name. To add on to that, I would actually say in Malayalam, you call someone a Hashbush person. So what it means is
Yes, sir.
basically that that person is into high fashion and also into attitude. That's how all of this came together and Hashbush was born when Hashbush came into picture.
Yeah, that's really a catchy name, sir. So, sir, like you work with your partners, right? So, as founders, you go together doing your executive PG program, right? So, what brought you together? Like, how can we identify an ideal co-founder?
Okay. Our experience was that once I did the program at IIM, it was very clear that it is not an individual journey through the program. It has to be a group journey. So there were case studies and different aspects that needed discussion and people bringing insights from different angles. So we formed groups. And in these groups, what happened is there are, conflicting ideas that come, and they are from different perspectives. So someone will say that condition A is that, someone will say the path B is good, and we have to choose a path. So it is like, say, you are going in a boat, in a rowboat, and if person A is rowing to the left side, you want to reach the bank, and person B is rowing towards the right side. What will happen is the boat will go in circles. So what really should happen there is A and B should talk together, and both of them, both A and B, are right at the same time, but to trust the other person, to know that he, the other person is right, and to agree to one decision and moving toward that decision is important. So once you are spending time together with different people in a same group, you'll start to trust each other. That I feel is one of the basic foundation for any team. From there, what we can do is, so we know that whatever happens, the other person got our back. And the second thing is, even though they are telling a different perspective, we all have a common and same goal in our sight. So we are going to the same direction. So we have to understand that. So that is how a team starts to form, and spending time together will improve the journey. On a lighter note, I would say people used to tell that you all love having good food. So that is what is keeping your team together, and that is what is that is the center of your team. But if I have to suggest what to look for in an ideal co-founder, I would say spend time with each other. And if the other person is from a different background, well and good. If they have different skills, that is also good. But skills can be learned, and you can even hire new skill. But have someone to trust. That is what I feel the foundation and the core. From there, you can actually, once the program starts, or basically the entrepreneurship journey starts, you will take different angles. So, like a team, one person would be an attacker. He will be running from the front. There will be a couple of people who are supporting them. And there are people who are at the back as a defense as well. So these roles will be switching around, and we'll support each other. And that's how a team moves forward. And another that you have to keep in mind is, this is not a short journey. It's a very long journey. So all of you have to stick together during the tough times and the better times if you have to take the journey to a long distance. That's what I have to say.
So you were working in an MNC, right, before venturing into business. So how easy or difficult was to quit the corporate career? Like, what do you think at that moment? And how was supportive was your family in this decision, like to get into a business world?
It was not at all an easy decision to make. It was one of the most toughest and stretched out decisions that I had to take. So because an excuse that I am into an IMK plan, I use that as to convince myself that this time is there, 2 years time is there. I will somehow create that is doing well within the spirit. So it was tough because both of them were into government jobs, and they risk averse. And I had to do a lot of talking and convincing in the initial phase. And then even our friends and our classmates and professors, the interactions actually gave me the confidence. First, you have to convince yourself if you have to convince someone. So, and this journey was started with one or two of my friends. So it was not a journey that I started alone. So all of this gave the confidence. And then what happened was, I took the decision. I said that I'm quitting my job. I'm starting this. And then everyone came together and said, come what may, we will support you. Don't be. And that actually gives you a sense of calm. Your fear goes away, and you are there, ready for the battle.
That's give the confidence, sir.
Yes.
Okay. So your company has an Instagram page, right, sir? So and all the posts are garnering good response. Even I'm following the page, and now it's almost heading to 100K followers. So how well it is converting to sale? Like, do you think Instagram is a good platform compared to another digital platforms and all?
Instagram was actually a lifesaver for us. So during these lockdown days. Just before that, around January last year, we started promoting our Insta page. During those times, we were there around 2K followers, 2K, 3K followers. From there, we started, we had a conscious effort to push our marketing through Instagram. Then what happened was, we didn't look for a sale at that point. We just wanted to create a presence. It was actually a lifeline for us during the lockdown days. We spent all our time and effort in building this page. Once you reach a threshold, maybe around 20K followers or 30K followers, they are actually like-minded people who actually like your product. They want to buy your product. So we started getting queries, and slowly the queries started converting to customers, and they became repeat customers. It started to grow. They spread the word. They asked their friends to follow. Like you said, Yorin, many people actually like the product, and they came to following our Instagram page. To come to your second part, is there any other platform? Our website is also getting traction. So that is getting promoted through different through Instagram and Facebook. There is WhatsApp. There are different channels. All the channels bring in customers. You will have to start somewhere, then take it one step at a time. All the channels are good, but Instagram, I feel, for fashion is one of the best place to start.
Yes, sir. Digital platform is one of the best place to start it, sir. And so, like, I used to see your posts, like in your Instagram page. So it's like many models are there, and it's like they wear they your company or fashion dresses and all. And like, on what basis you are picking up the model? Like, on what criteria you selecting the models?
See, everything starts with your network and your friends. So initially, what we did was we asked some of our friends to do the modeling for us, mobilized and helped support us. And then we slowly asked their network, gaming. And once we started to create some noise and create some followers, we thought that we need to go level up. Slowly, we started improving or bringing in people who had more reach, who are more professional in this job, and that's how things are happening.
Okay, sir. So, like, being in the fashion industry, have you ever considered celebrating those other than these models and all?
We already have some celebrities. People who are into film industry are already working with us, and definitely are no big names as of now. I hope we'll be there someday. We'll be able to partner with big names.
Yes, I also hope so. Then audience can also ask any doubt or questions regarding this. Is there anyone who wants to ask anything? You can put up in the chat box also. Okay, sir. So, like, it takes months to find a customers and second to lose one, right? So, how did you build a successful customer base, sir?
Start looking from yourself. You're always a customer. So, what do you see
Yes.
in a brand, or what do you like in a brand? If you are happy with the brand, stick with it. But if the brand really wows you, you won't just follow the brand. You will also take your friends along with you to follow the brand. So we try to wow our customers every time to exceed their expectations. That is our what do you call build driving thing that we have. Of course, during these uncertain times, it is not always to keep everybody happy. There may be time when we are not able to meet their expectations. And at that time, just let them know, talk to people, let them know that there are so and so issues. We won't be able to do as expecting us to do, and we'll try our best to what do you call uh, solve your problems. So if it is whatever the problem is, the communication helps to ease out. So sometimes we have had situations where a customer got disappointed because our shipping got delayed. But once we told them that it is due to the lockdown, we were not able to ship as expected. And once they got the product, they were so happy that they took the product, both the product, gave us a snap, and shared with their friend, told that this is something I really like. So that is uh, try to give them the best experience possible. That's how we
Yes, sir.
can.
Customers are always the king.
Mhm.
So, sir, is there any return policy in yours too?
Yes, if the product is not up to the certain mark, if there are any defects or some things like that, we need to accept returns.
So, sir, what kind of culture exists in your organization? Like, how did you establish it?
We didn't consciously establish any culture. So basically, all of us being from the IT background, we naturally brought in that culture with us. It is basically a free, open culture where each person can talk to anybody and expect help from them. So it is a close team, small that we are building now. So it is closely knit, like a family. So we uh, each people will be there when someone else needs them, and they are ready to go the extra mile to see that our common dream or common goal is achieved. So each person will do whatever is needed to get the job done, to make the customers happy, to uh, solve the problem. That's how it happens.
So, what do you say are the top skills needed to be a successful entrepreneurship? What are skills we want to have
So
within us?
to be an entrepreneur, one or two skills are not enough. If you are going to
Yes, sir.
run down, you'll have to keep on doing that. So I'll try to pick one or two that comes to the top of my mind. So you have to be a good problem solver. For that, you have to observe well and then learn fast what is happening and adapt. Once you do these three things, you will have to implement what changes that is there. So for that, you have to be flexible. And when you're working with a small team, you will have to be good with people. So that also comes along. Once these basic things are there, I think it is good for a start. Even if you don't have some technical knowledge, that is okay. You can get people to join your team who can actually do that. For example, four of us are from IT background. We didn't have any knowledge with fashion. So we ask people to join us who are from the fashion background, who will be able to help grow this organization. That's how we build a team.
So do you think you are a good decision maker or a quick learner?
Of course, we have survived this long. So
Yes.
that is one of the things that we think do good.
So what entrepreneurial tricks have you discovered to keep you focused and productive in your day-to-day busy schedules and all, hectic schedules and all?
You can call it busy or whatever, but what we have to do is, as an entrepreneur, make sure your team is happy. Okay, so
Yes.
focus on your team, make them happy. Once the team is happy, they will make sure that our customers are happy. Once the customers are
Yes.
happy, it is what we are trying to achieve. So all of us will be happy. So this is the
Yes.
base or core that I will say is the secret. And what next is, yeah, that's it. Focus on that. The rest of things will follow.
Yes, creating a successful, what to say, a business condition or a working condition is the first step towards the success, right? That makes everyone satisfied.
Yes, it can be a small thing, a small niggle, or it can be a big thing.
Yes.
So focusing on that and making things available or making people available. It is not just, when I say a team, it doesn't just mean people who are working in your organization. It is also the people who are supporting from around you, your suppliers, your vendors, and also your customers. So as a whole, if you focus, then it will be much easier.
Yes, sir. Great, sir. So, what advice do you give women who are looking to enter the creative industry? Like in our class itself, there are many who are into this creative industries and all. So, what advice you give?
I don't see much difference between man or woman. Okay, you are all individuals. See yourself like that. Know your strength and weakness, and believe in yourself. That belief is what helps you further. What you have to do is stop thinking and start acting. Take one step at a time. That one step would be, if you take step at a time, by 1 or 2 years, you would have traveled a long distance. So you can, if you are into creative industry or whatever industry for that matter, you can make use of weekend times, or you can even try to work on all projects, and then see if you are suited for that industry, and then you can take a call. If you want to go fresh, just do that.
Okay, sir. So, you know that so far we are facing a huge pandemic, and it's now the second wave has hit us. So, how has the pandemic hit your business? Like, was there any difficulties you facing?
I would be suggesting that difficulty every single person in this world is facing. Okay? Pandemic has impacted every single person, and it has impacted us too. Basically, it was like a reset button. We were taken back to level zero. Everything came to a standstill. The sales were zero. The operations were completely shut down, and we didn't know what to do next. That was the situation. But this is not the first time we have been impacted, and this won't be the last. Understand that and make use of the situation. Take bold moves and take yourself further. That is what I will suggest. To add on to that, what I would say is, have you heard about a story where even in the biggest nuclear holocaust, the cockroaches? Okay. So what I will say is, be the cockroach, survive. And once you survive, you will be able to thrive and grow after the difficulties are over.
So from your talk itself, we can see that you are well prepared for anything that can happen in the future.
I would say it's the experience. So every year we had to face some or the other difficulty. Last year it was floods, and before that also we had once. Now the corona. It's part and parcel of the game now. It is not just impacting you, it is impacting everybody.
Yes, sir. So will you extend your line of service in any future? Like, do you have any plans to set up any physical stores and all?
Okay. How to send the See, we have already understood the power of crowd. Once you, I had already talked about that. A group of passionate people working towards a common goal can actually do wonders. So, uh, I see maybe in the far future, maybe even designing electric cars or even colonies in Mars. Who knows what happens? The potential is huge.
Yes, sir. I got it, sir. Then, like, do you have any in-house designers, like in your company?
Definitely, they are backbone of our designing platform.
Yes.
Uh,
So,
yeah, they form from the background work that has to happen before we launch our events, the procurement, shortlisting of fabrics, and that happens. And after that, they mentor or guide the participants as to how to bring out their designs. And after the designs are submitted, to bring them to life is a complex process. So that has to have an expert overview. They'll have to involve themselves, back various activities, and then bring the product to life.
yes, sir. So, like, you are opting for a crowd designing, right? So, how challenging is to measure the authenticity of designers and maintaining them on a good basis?
If you mean by the degrees or certificates that they are holding, we are really focusing on that. Basically, what we are looking for is their passion and their willingness to bring out the best in them. So if people can bring out good design products, it doesn't matter if they are from a fashion background or they have an IT job or they are a teacher, a doctor, that matter. So people with passion are there in film industry. It is there everywhere. You just have to look for people with passion, and they will actually what you call take your business to the next level.
Yes. So, like, I believe that a mentor is someone who allows you to see the hope inside yourself, right? So, do you have any mentor?
Uh, we are not that lucky, I would say. We don't have a mentor per se, but we do have people around us who uh, act as sounding boards to uh, ask our questions, to tell our concerns, and give us the emotional support that we need whenever it's needed. So I think these are main things that a mentor does. If a uh, mentor will ask you the right questions. So we are into many fields, domains. So we'll go to the person with IT experience to uh, focus on what to do in the IT, and we'll talk to designers who are experienced there to uh, see the future. So that's how we balance things, and that's how we are taking it forward.
Yes, we have a question in the chat box. Like, in fashion industry, retail customer or wholesale customer business is more strong according to present and future fashion industry. Example, steel prices going to hike. It will affect the cement factory. I mean, cement industry, right? So, in fashion industry, what will happen in this COVID situation? Like,
So I would say what happened to us rather than industry. We initially, when we launched our business, we were primarily thinking that we'll completely be an online store. What happened was there was no traction online, and we started experimenting with offline stores. So for the past 4 or 5 years, when we were able to bring in traction through offline, we focused on B2B and the wholesale distribution thing, and we were able to grow our business. Once pandemic landed, everything changed. Whole environment changed. Uh, the industry is at a standstill, I would say. But luckily, Insta and our website was up and ready before that, and we scaled there. And because of that, right now, I would say that we are probably focusing more on online, and then we are also maintaining our offline relationship. They are also helpful.
So, like the central
That's
and
the question that Avinash was asking.
Avinash. I think Avinash is not here.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes. So the central and the state governments are very vocal about their initiatives to encourage youth entrepreneurship, like we have IEDC and all. So have you been benefited by any of them? Like, is there any benefit?
So I will start by saying that programs like these, IEDC and workshops, have had its impacts. During my college days, we had certain workshops. Then all those things slowly helped me move towards that entrepreneur. Okay. And once you are an entrepreneur, the things are still better. Both the central and state governments are pushing entrepreneurship right now. They are making things much easier, and it is easier and far to start a business today than it was 5 or 10 or 20 back. They are actually creating an ecosystem where different sorts of business can come up. In Kerala, right now, we are incubated at IIM Kozhikode. So from there are similar incubation centers across the state. These are driven both by the center and state government. The policies they are bringing up is promoting these. And once you get into these incubation centers, what happens is you get to use softwares that are expensive inside the incubation program. So you get access to the latest technology, and sometimes you even access to free technology. You are given what is called the credits for using technology in Amazon, Google, etc. Apart from that, we were fortunate enough to get a debt funding from MRPL at IMK Live.
Okay, so we have another question from Avinash. Like,
Okay.
in future, online business goes for unhealthy competition, like because all the companies are moving towards online business, right? So
I would
what's your
tell
take
the
on
story
that?
of Kodak. I will tell the story of Kodak. So we all used to use film cameras one day. Once the digital revolution came up, the company didn't change. They didn't bring in new technology. And what happened is that company stopped existing. But digital camera, now even in your mobile phone, there is cameras that can provide high resolution photography that was not available 10 or 20 years back. So if the industry moves towards that direction, you will also have to move there. It is the survival of fittest that happening. Healthy, unhealthy, all the boundaries are shrinking. To almost every retail shop is having an online partnership. There are benefits for having a physical store and the digital platform as well. You are giving customers more choice. So today, sitting at home, I can order groceries from maybe Lulu or like or tomorrow, if I want to go there and shop, that is also possible. But if I choose to order from, say, Amazon, it will take 2 or 3 days to get the product. But if I am going here, I'll get it today. So you'll have to embrace what the customer wants and move to that direction.
Nice. So, sir, can you share any experience that you faced, like the most challenging one?
I didn't get you. Can you phrase it
Like
differently?
any challenging experiences or incidents
Okay.
after getting into this venture?
The biggest challenge has been Corona. Before this, it was the floods. So both the times during flood, what happened was, for a short period of time, we were unable to travel outside the city. And after 1 or 2 weeks, it came back to almost normal, and we were able to move along. But then what has happened is the whole industry is changing. You can't go outside without wearing a mask. So many people and many industries have changed. The way the people dress is changing. So today, what is saying is the casual wear and plus size or what loose size fashion is getting more attention, because people want to wear comfortable clothes rather than a party wear or those kind of dresses. No. So
Yes, sir, you are right.
So what happens is the worst challenge that we have faced today is having zero sales, and that is during lockdown period. And I'd say that if that is the situation, we have to sit still, wait for it to get over, and then come back with full force.
Nice, sir. So last but not the least, what piece of advice would you give to us who want to become entrepreneur in any future?
I would split this answer into 2 parts. Okay. So
Okay, sir.
one set of people who are already decided, either they want to be an entrepreneur, or the extreme other end, I don't want to be an entrepreneur. So this answer is not for them. So there are people in between who are undecided. Should I become an entrepreneur or should not become an entrepreneur? That decision is tough to take. Even I took a long time to take that decision. So I would suggest asking the question to yourself: should I become an entrepreneur? That's the question that you have to ask yourself. Before that, you go and talk to your, say that I am going to start such and such. It is going to be for so long a period, and listen to their feedback. Some will support you, some would be against you. Do that to your professor. Tell them and see their feedback. What I'm telling is, once you listen to all these feedback, you will have to answer to the question again: should I become the entrepreneur? And check if you are still saying yes, yes, yes. If yes, then start. Because once you start the journey, you should not look back. All your doubts and questions should be over before that. Once you start, it is full steam. You will have, after 1 week, they're turning back. After 2 weeks, there is no turning back. You should have an at 6 month horizon with you if you are going to start in new. And after the 6 months, there will be an additional 6 months. And after that, an additional 6 months. So what I think is, if you can, it's 5 years of your time. By that time, an idea would have found you. It's not you finding it. An idea would have found you, and the future path would be very clear. That is what I feel. It is a tough choice, but one of the best decisions that I have taken.
Great, sir. So, yeah, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us today. And I wish all the best for your future career in this business
Thank,
world. Over to Rajat.
thank you. This session was really interesting. If any of you have other questions, I'll be glad to answer them.
Yes, anyone can come out the questions. You can even put in the chat box also.
Okay, we'll move ahead. I hope it was informative and it helped clear some of your doubts and fears when starting an entrepreneurial journey. And hope to see at least few of you beginning the journey. Okay, thank
It
you.
was really informative, sir. It was really informative. So, over to Rajat.
Namaste and good evening to all. Honorable Chief Guest, Mr. Ravi Shankar, most respected Dean, and our faculty members and dear friends. I deem it is a great honor and privilege to propose the vote of thanks for this occasion. Let me first give the glory to God Almighty for making today's occasion a great success. I thank our distinguished guest, Mr. Ravi Shankar, co-founder of Hashbush, who despite his busy schedule has found time to grace this occasion. Sir, your words are really inspiring to the potential entrepreneurs, especially the message you have given. Once again, I thank you on behalf of Bhavan's Royal Institute of Management for your valuable support. Next, I would like to put on record my gratitude to Dean Dr. Raj Gopalan Nair for being the backbone in all our endeavors. Behind every successful programs lie the manifold attempt to our committed faculties. I would like to thank the immense contribution of our dedicated faculties and our staff members. Last but not least, I thank my dear friends for their cooperation. Once again, of Bhavan's family, thanks a lot to all once again. And thank you, sir.
Thank you.